Thank you. As Méder said, I'm the jerk who doesn't want to speak Hungarian on a Hungarian conference. Because there's a lot of engineers in the room, you value accuracy, so let me tell the true story. It was not that they didn't let me to speak English, but they wanted us to sponsor the conference. That was the web conference, right, in 2012, and invite speakers from outside Hungary. And when I asked the conference organizers, where is the English website so I can send over to the friends that, hey, you should come to Budapest or Bucharest or something, so I have to explain why you should come here. They said there was no English-speaking or English website, so this is how we started Mlog.js. Yesterday I talked to Rambala Eva, who was here 2 years ago. I don't know who remembers, and she said she was so nervous 2 years ago to talk in front of so many engineers, because talking about emotions in front of engineers is one of the hardest things. So I'm HP. I'm the guy who usually talks about the fact that you have to trust that you can change, right? I'm known as a growth mindset advocate because I believe that focused practice can help you to learn any skills or improve any of your skills. I think this is self-known for this audience, right? I would even bet half of you have already heard about growth mindset, right? The other half, you can go home and Google it. Because you are a self-regulated learner. I believe that you can learn if you want. If you don't want, then I cannot help. And if you can improve any of your skills, you can improve skills of management, skills of managing people. On this stage in 2013, on another conference, I gave a talk about the very positive impact of a single idea you can have, that learning, management is a learnable skill. Entrepreneur ability is malleable. This can help you to be better. And, on the other side, if you believe that great leaders are natural-born leaders, that will have a negative impact on your performance. Now I summarize growth mindset talks in one sentence. And yes, in fact, the whole idea of stretch came from or was born because we were a big fan of growth mindset. So in 2012, 2013, we are in the same situation in other companies. We had to introduce, we didn't want, but we had to introduce middle management layer in engineering. You know, this is the point in a startup when you start calling your less shyest of your best engineers as managers on a day, and then you believe that things gonna be okay. Right? You have to do something. It's in the books. So we had a joke with Gábor Török that is a pity problem. We have to learn a new skill. But we believe that we could learn this skill as well. And that's why we started organizing the conference. And the mantra is simple. You can learn anything, so you can learn how to manage, lead, so change people. Just go home and do it. Practice, 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 but practice it by doing, right? And come back in a year for the next conference. But there is a problem. Since then, I have experienced something really, really weird. And I learned that the more I push people, the more they push back, which is kind of obvious if you are a system thinker. But it was not obvious for me that more I want to change people, the less efficient I am. And the less efficient I am, the less motivated I become. And then I just give up. I give up and start blaming others that they are resistant. They don't want to change. I know what's good for them, but they don't want to change. And this is exactly a best signal I learned of the burnout of a change agent. When you start blaming others that they are resistant, that's your burnout. Nobody did this in this room, right? Never. I did it. Why? Because you must accept something. People are resistant. Organizations are resistant. Countries are resistant. You are resistant. I'm resistant. Because every living system is resistant. They are resistant because they are alive. If you are not resistant, that's your death, right? So resistance is a good thing. And if resistance is a good thing, that resistance to change might be useful. And to be honest, do you know what I think? You are an idiot. You are an idiot if you want to change something you cannot, right? Or at least, don't be surprised if you miserably fail. But it's okay, you can try. So, I'm here to say, I was wrong. You should stop trying to change people. Just stop it. I encourage you to try, but I set up you for failure. So then what? I like this silence. This is what? Did you know that parents are the most who want to change people? So what can we learn from parents? How do they deal with resistance? Because they are the resistance managers, not you. So here is my son, Shoma. And of course I want him to have desires he can express, right? Be self-efficient, creative, a learner. I'm pretty sure all of want you the same for your children. And then, we are running late in the morning. You know, parents know this. There is no way to leave your home in 2 minutes if you have children. This is the luxury you have, young people. Enjoy it until you can. Because Shoma wants to learn exactly in that moment something new, right? That's his idea, pulling the zip, so he tries it, but he can't. And he's busy testing his new skills, and there is no way for him to understand that daddy has a meeting with 4 other people in 15 minutes. What I can tell him? You are stupid. We are running. What he says? No, I can do it. Of course, I try. Just a moment. No. And he cries. But what is Shoma's desire here, my son's desire? Do you know this one? Of course, you know, this is the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Or you can Google it. You should know. So, he wants to learn. He wants to prove competence. This is his competence motivation, right? He's doing exactly the same thing what I want him to be. Just not at the right moment. Because we are in a hurry. So don't be competent right now, because Daddy is in a hurry. What's the real problem here? Balint Gábor, my friend and colleague in Prezi, said that 80% of parenting problems comes from the situation when the parents are in a hurry and the kids not. Right? And in the middle of the stress, you lose something. You lose the connection to your kid. Because your behavior is controlled by your desire and not the kid's desire. Right? We have a desire gap for engineers. And you can read a lot of parenting books or management books how to teach your kid obedience, but it won't work here because you cannot connect and the child resists. But if and when I can regulate my anger, frustration, and really listen to him, then we can usually leave earlier, right? So here is lesson number 1. Resistance means you have different desires or needs. That's it. Next time you start blaming them that they are resistant, think about that. It's a great signal that you want something different. Nothing else, not that they are jerk. You want something different. From my perspective, Shoma is stupid because doesn't understand we should run. From his perspective, Daddy is a bit cuckoo. Because Daddy is running and wants to miss one of the most valuable moments of the life, learning. Learn something new. If I push him, he pushes me back. And there is something important in this lesson. And the important is, resistance is not his resistance. Resistance, the problem is our problem, right? If I stop pushing him to run, there is no resistance. As I said, the more I push him, the more he pushes me back. So, I'm part of the problem as a change agent. Usually you are part of the problem. If you are part of the problem, you must be part of the solution as well. Okay, I have 2 children. Mimi, my daughter, she wants to take her biggest truck to the kindergarten in the morning at 8. Great idea, but I don't like it at all. Because the truck is heavy and I anticipate that I have to carry this fucking truck from the next corner. But she wants it. So we start again the fight, but let's do something new. Have a mini conversation. Do you want to take the truck to the kindergarten? And this question must be coming from a curiosity. Not like, do you want to take this to the kindergarten? So if you are interested, use questions only if you are interested in the answer, okay? That's lesson number 0. Yes. To whom would you show the truck first? It's really good to have these questions so you can map out the social network of the kindergarten. Sonia, what would you load in it? I asking. This is a truck, so you must load something. Chestnuts. And would you deliver the chestnuts to someone? And so on, and so on. We can have this conversation. I always visualize this kind of conversation that I walk with my daughter, or she walks with me, and she shows me her desires. And my job is nothing else just to be curious and wonder in her world. And then the next level of this kind of conversation, that I let her satisfy her own desires, and I manage to satisfy mine. That's advanced level. I don't want to change her. So I try. Oh, it would be great, or it must be great, to play with the truck and Sonia in the kindergarten. Come, we have to go now. The truck stays here, but tell me more about what else would you do with it. Sometimes it works. If the plan works, we sneak through the door, and I feel incredible competence. I'm a people influencer. And Mimi feels happy. Living the desire is sometimes more important for people, especially for my daughter, than the very solution she had found out, right? You work in product manager, so you know the wide ladder in design thinking. Sometimes you should understand why she wants to do that. Lesson number 1. When you are busy, because you are going to be busy with your change agent mission, don't forget to walk with people and feel their desire. And the next is really hard for engineers. Don't understand their desires. Feel their desires. It's hard for me. And you should imagine yourself in their situations. That's sometimes really hard. But the most important lesson I learned as a new parent, it was in 2012, 11. You know, I was heading a hip startup in San Francisco, early phase, crazy times. And you want to put down your baby. And but my baby is crying. He won't fall asleep. And there is an idea I always had to remember that time, what I read in the book, of course. He is not crying because he's rude. He wants to frustrate me. Or he simply couldn't care less for my preparation for the next planning meeting. He does want to sleep. I have to remind myself, he does want to sleep. He's tired. He just cannot calm down, right? He needs my help to relax. Because he cannot fall asleep without me. I have to smooth him first. For managers, we call it removing the obstacle, right? But the really, really simple summary, not I'm putting him to sleep. He puts him to sleep. I just help him. This model made me more efficient because I didn't get tense when he didn't sleep. Because I could think that it was not my failure. Usually you get tense because you feel that, oh, that's my failure, I cannot do this, and I cannot do this one and that one and this. But you can realize that this is his struggle, and my role is to help. And sometimes I cannot do this. I cannot do this because I'm so much pressed that I'm unable to calm down anybody, not myself, not my children. We have a code with my wife that I'm stressed, and I can tell to my wife that I cannot give my kid what he needs. Please help and take him over. Take over because I'm failing now. And it's okay. Sometimes you cannot do. You don't have to be a perfect dad. And you don't have to be a perfect manager. So, why is parenting a good change agent example? Because it helps me to demonstrate the HP way of influencing people. This is a new model, just for you, included in the price. Rule number one, don't want to change or teach people because it will irritate them. The only thing you can achieve, irritated people. That's take it or leave it. Understand them, feel their motivation and needs. Accept them as they are, really Buddhist. It's not their fault. And offer them an opportunity to redefine their needs and get ready for refusal. So, where we are now. Here is my one-sentence summary. And my one-sentence summary says that stop wanting to change people, try to help them, and let them change their own behavior. And I know you engineers in the room. I know the cynical voices. I can hear. Where is the science? Where is the evidence? So, social science, modern social science, new buttons, a lot of buttons. This is really expensive. So social science says that people have a strong desire to see themselves as competent. That's Maslow, right? You know this. Morally appropriate and worthy of social approval. And I summarize social science for you in one sentence, because you paid a lot of money. We all want to be competent and accepted, means loved. Everybody. You, me, the people you want to change and manage. People want to be good. Even they want to be good. Even the other party voters want to be good. And if you treat them so, you will behave well. Here is an example from science. Imagine you have to convince people to elect or vote on election. How can you make people participate on an election? And I brought this example because I'm sure that 80% of you has already given thought, because you believe that Brexit, Orban and Trump would never happen if people go to election, right? That's kind of the model. So how do you influence people to go and vote? Stanford researchers, California, so it must be true. This is an experiment they did a day before an election, and they asked a group of people, and because this is science, this is two groups of people, right? One was asked that, how important is to you to be a voter in tomorrow's election? The other, how important is to you to vote? Can you see the difference? In the first case, they labeled people as a noun. In the second case, they described the behavior with a verb. Result? 14% boost. For which one? Voter. For 14% boost for the voter version, the non-group. And why? Because I get a new identity. Just because you are asked how important it is for you to be a voter, you get a new identity, a socially accepted new identity. As I said, people want to be good. In the second case, there is nothing what I get from the intervention. From this presentation perspective, we could say that satisfy people's desire to shape their own identities if you want to motivate their behavior, right? And at this point, I can read your minds. Now I get a new tool to change people. I just have to give them positive identity. It's kind of true. But here is my model. This research shows what happens when you really understand people and you accept them as they are. And you don't want to change them, but help them become what they want to be. Does it make sense? Let me give you another example. Your job, again, to change people and convince them to turn off the lights. Because you are so environmentally hip. I don't know what you are. But here is my point. If you think that people are lazy and don't give a shit about energy consumption, in other words, you are cynical and judging, but it's really hard to figure out what to do. Because they are lazy. They don't care. You can arrange, for instance, a mandatory training. Usually this is the HR solution. Where everybody learns how bad it is for society to burn tons of coal. Or you can increase the price. That's a Republican solution. And then it's Scandinavia, it's not Republicans. In Scandinavia, they do this. But here is what science says. The best practice is so simple. Just tell people that their neighbor is turning off the light. Their neighbor is saving X% of money. Zero judging, zero aggression. You don't need to learn nonviolent communication to tell people what their neighbors do, right? Just a simple statement. And why it works? Because the assumption is that people, everybody, wants to be a useful member of the society. If you change your mind and then you have a positive picture of people, you can be a more efficient change agent. That's what modern science says. And I have to find my last page. This is the first one. So I'm the guy who speaks on conferences. No, that was a joke. So, where we are now. Why I'm telling these whole stories about my children? Because I love them. About social science? Because I love social science. Why do I think it's good for you? I don't know if it's good for you or not. I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about my experience. And I'm talking about what did me think that you should stop wanting to change people and influence people and connect them. So, as I said, I already told you, I will find the last page. I already told you, I believe in change. This is Mimi. I love her. I don't know what happened to the last page. Voting. Anyway, we don't care about the last page. So, I'm a growth mindset advocate, right? I believe that you can learn. And what I learned is, during my journey, is that the idea that I can do anything if I really want. I can learn anything. This idea of what is called self-efficacy, the belief that I am self-efficient, that makes me happy. Because that's why I get in flow, right? And when I lose my self-efficacy, when I think that I can't change, I don't know how to behave well, when I feel that I'm not good enough, I'm failing, at that moment, I don't need you to come and say, this is how you should behave. No! I know that I'm failing. I have the bad feeling. I need only one thing. Come, tell me that I'm not so bad. Maybe others are worse. And it's gonna work, right? I'm happy with a growth mindset advocate to struggle. And the only reason I accept struggling, because sometimes you have struggle, because I know that in the end, there's going to be progress in my life. If I lose this hope that there's going to be progress in my life, I won't struggle, or I will be fucking angry to struggle. So just tell me that there is hope. So how can you change people? As I said, let them become what they really want to be. And think about one thing. How can you make feel others better? Because if you find that key, then you can maybe trust that they are going to change their behavior. That's my point. Thank you.
Thank you, HP. Thank you very much. So we have a few minutes here for some questions. And there are a number of them here. So the top one is, how many children do you have?
2. And I'm looking for this last page.
2.
It must be
determined
here.
to find it.
It must be here.
Okay. Next question is, what if after fully understanding their needs, you find that you do have this desire gap between what the business needs and what they want? What do you advise at that point?
What was the question?
If you after you've connected with them and you find that there's still a gap between what they desire and what the business needs.
You have to have a meaningful conversation about desires. That's it. If people don't want to do what you want them to do, and they don't want to do because they have different desires, let them go. Everybody is a free people, and I really think that people should seek happiness or looking for happiness, and if you cannot give happiness to someone, I think that's the best for you and for someone to find that happiness somewhere else. Mm-hmm. I can imagine the layoff Sorry, 30% of the company was not happy, so we're laying them off. That's not my point. Okay, I'm cynical.
So this is a very similar question, but with a little different twist to it. You know, what if you actually know that what they're desiring is actually wrong or maybe bad for them? How can you help them when you can't agree with their desires?
Thank you for the specific question. Tell them. I think I would change "you know" to "you think," and then it's easier to start the conversation. If you think that something is wrong, I think your only responsibility to tell this to people, because you think that it's going to be wrong. Don't set up people for failure. And I would say, I think it's wrong, and we can have a conversation. So maybe you don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Am I too liberal here? No.
You were, let's see.
And
everything keeps flipping
more thing.
Here, yeah.
What is only on every leadership conference, I never heard any employee saying that I know too much about why we are heading to this direction. I never heard this complaint that I know too much about why is it good to be there. I have heard people complaining that I don't know why we are going there, but I have to go there, right? So think about why they think that's difference. As I said, maybe it's your issue. Because you cannot tell why should I behave like this and that.
So that's
why I'm not doing your job.
Yeah, thank you. So this one will spark some debate. Aren't we strengthening Gen Y's strange behavior and attitude even more with the no change approach?
I don't know what is no change approach of why.
As in not trying to change them.
Aren't we strengthening Generation Y? Strange behavior. I don't know what is Y generation's strange behavior. Do you know?
I know what people think.
I'm part of the Y generation, I try to believe. So I don't know what is strange here.
Why don't we move on from that one? We'll do one more. We've got a minute left. And you said people are going to want the science, and you're right. So Maslow's pyramid recently turned out to be a non-validated theory.
Engineering. I missed this in the last 2 years. Teachers don't do this.
Why do you refer to it at all?
Okay. Because I didn't know that it's not valid anymore. Next one.
Excellent and honest answer. All right.
And because I'm resistant to change, I would say maybe Maslow was wrong 50 years ago. The positive psychology is showing us that people want to behave well. And if you treat them so, they will behave well. If you treat people bad, we know that how they will behave. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much, HP.
Thank you.